Elena Vargas, a grieving architect, returns to her hometown after her father Andres dies. While closing his old hiking supply shop, she finds a leather case labeled "For Elena, the path I never finished." Inside is a hand-drawn map and a journal from her father telling her to follow the trail. Elena and her son Mateo walk the hidden forest path Andres secretly built years ago. Along the trail, they find carved signs, messages, and markers her father left for her, showing he always intended to bring her there before he became sick. The path leads to a beautiful valley overlook with a bench her father built. A plaque reads, "For Elena, who forgot her path but never lost it." Elena realizes the journey wasn't about treasure, it was her father's way of helping her remember who she truly is, reconnect with her purpose, and rebuild her life. By the end, she understands that life still holds open paths for her and her son, and she chooses to start walking them instead of leaving them unfinished. Let's carry on, and please hit the subscribe button to make my day. Let me know where you are watching from in the comment. Elena Vargas never expected her life to shrink so quickly. One moment she was a young architect in a rising firm, the next, she was packing boxes after her father's death, closing his small hiking supply shop, and trying to stitch together a routine with her 9-year-old son, Mateo. Grief has a way of folding the world into something smaller, something harder to breathe inside. Her father, Andres Vargas, had been a stubborn traveler, a collector of maps, and a man who believed that every person was born with a path only they could walk. Elena used to love that idea when she was a child. As an adult, she had learned how paths could also vanish, sometimes overnight. She returned to her hometown only because she had to settle paperwork, to sell the store, to handle the estate. But the longer she stayed, the more unfinished everything felt. Her father's will-mentioned final gift for her, kept in the back storage room of the shop, but when the lawyer delivered the key, he simply shrugged. "He told me you'd understand," he said. "Or at least, that you'd know when you were ready." Ready for what? Elena wondered. For a week she avoided opening the storage room, drowning herself in duties, inventory lists, calls from real estate agents, fixing Mateo's school enrollment. But on a quiet evening, long after the shop had closed and the street lamps glowed like lanterns in a fog, she finally unlocked the dusty back room. Inside was nothing but boxes, some marked with years, others with travel locations. On the far table lay a long, cylindrical case made of worn leather, tied with a simple twine bow. Her father's handwriting, shaky but determined, marked the label, "For Elena, the path I never finished." Her breath tightened. She opened the case. Inside was a rolled map unlike anything she had ever seen. Hand-drawn, edges scorched slightly as if by accident. Small annotations in Andres' writing, "Steeper than expected, worth the climb. Elena must see the sunrise here." A small journal was tucked beside it. "Elena, mi hija, every path has two endings, the one you walk, and the one you leave unfinished. This is yours now. Follow the map. You'll understand." Her fingers trembled. Mateo leaned over her shoulder, eyes wide. "Mom, are we going?" She wanted to say no. There was too much to do. Too many responsibilities. Too much pain she didn't want to reopen. But she saw her father's handwriting again, and something inside her softened. "Yes," she whispered. "Tomorrow." The trail began at the edge of the old national forest, the one Andres used to explore when Elena was small. The entrance was barely noticeable now, overgrown with vines, the path half erased by time. But the map was clear, and Elena's memory filled in some gaps. They walked for hours. Mateo ran ahead, sometimes doubling back with stories of birds he spotted or odd-shaped rocks he collected. Elena followed more slowly, carrying her father's journal in her pocket. Each step felt like returning to a language she once knew but hadn't spoken in years. At a narrow bend in the trail, the path suddenly split, one clear, one almost invisible beneath fallen branches. The map pointed to the hidden one. "Mom," Mateo asked, "why would Grandpa make a path nobody can find?" She knelt beside him. "Because some things are meant only for the people who look closely." The hidden path grew steeper, quieter, more intimate. Sunlight filtered through tall pines like soft curtains. The air smelled of moss and old earth, the kind of scent her father always said meant you being watched by something ancient, but friendly. Halfway up the incline, Mateo found a wooden marker buried under leaves, a carved arrow pointing upward, along with initials AV and EV. Her father had carved it years ago. He had meant to show her this path. But life, her career, his illness had gotten in the way. They walked farther, and Elena felt something uncoil inside her. The forest stretched around them, vast yet comforting, as if her father had shaped the trees himself to carry his memory. Every few minutes she found something subtle he had left, a tied ribbon, a stack of stones, a phrase carved into bark. All breadcrumbs meant for her. Keep going, Hija. Almost there. You will rebuild. At last the path ended at a narrow overlook. The view opened into a valley Elena had never seen, green, glowing, untouched. A river curled through the land like a silver thread. Birds circled over distant cliffs. It was the kind of place you couldn't reach by accident. It was Andre's secret world. A single wooden bench sat near the edge. Her father had built it. She recognized the way he cut the wood, the way he sanded his edges too smooth, the way he always reinforced the legs 3 times more than needed. A metal plate on the back read, "For Elena, who forgot her path but never lost it." Her chest tightened painfully. She shouldn't have cried, but tears came anyway. Not because she was sad, but because she finally understood. Her father didn't build this path for her to find treasure, or to discover some hidden family secret. He built it so she would remember who she was, who loved the world deeply, who dreamed of designing beautiful spaces, who once believed in building things that mattered. She had lost that version of herself along the way, but Andres hadn't. Mateo stood beside her. "Mom? Grandpa made all this for you?" She nodded, wiping her face. "He wanted me to remember the parts of myself I stopped listening to." "And do you?" For the first time since her father died, she felt the answer rising without hesitation. "Yes." They sat on the bench together, watching sunlight spill into the valley like gold poured from the sky. Mateo leaned against her. The wind carried her father's scent, pine smoke, old books. "What now?" Mateo asked softly. Elena looked at the map, then at the valley, then at her son. "Now," she said, "we start finishing paths instead of leaving them undone." And in that moment, the world didn't feel small anymore. It felt wide, open, waiting. Exactly the way her father always said a path should feel.